Hi everybody, welcome back to the Tasting Room. We're sampling today an old standard. This one here is a bourbon out of Kentucky. This is Wild Turkey 101. So as the name suggests, this one is 101 proof. And it's a very reasonably priced bourbon. Good everyday table bourbon here. In my opinion, you really can't go wrong with Wild Turkey anything. The Russell boys, they don't really half-ass anything here. Jimmy Russell, he's of a mind that a whiskey is not fully matured until it's at least 6 years old. This one here has, I believe it says whiskeys from barrels of 6 to 8 years old, or up to 6 to 8 years. Anyway, I can't imagine there's anything in there that's much younger. And they leave it at 101 proof here, so I mean, what it might lack in complexity would almost certainly make up for in fullness of flavor. Now, I do want to be clear on one thing, though. You know, the price can't impact the score of the whiskey. You know, a lot of people, they'll do a review and they'll have a cheaper whiskey here, and one of two things can happen. They'll either say, they'll either like it okay and give it a higher score because it's a better value, or they're expecting it to be a poor quality whiskey, and then they'll give it a lower score because of that. It happens more prevalently, I think, in the higher priced whiskey range. When a whiskey is to be $100 for a bottle, $200 for a bottle, I think people, and it's hard not to fall into this trap. People will kind of fool themselves into believing that it's something very, very good. Just because they paid a lot of money for it and they expect it, they want it to be very, very good, which I agree it should be, but not always the case. And I have a hard time sometimes not falling into that trap myself. So, just being clear here, we're rating the whiskey, not the value. So if I say this is a good value bourbon here, it doesn't have any impact on the score. Just it's a good bourbon for a low price. So let's delve into 101 here. Boy, you can really smell the Wild Turkey. They're notorious. They use a nice high rye content in their bourbons. I don't know that they disclose the actual percentage. They do have a little. If you go to the distillery, they have a little pie chart on the wall with the with the grains and the in their supposed proportions, but they don't have any numbers on them. It's obviously it's got to be at least 51% corn, and then there's rye and there's malted barley. But I can't remember what I thought the percentage actually looked like for the rye, but it was a relatively high looking rye content. And they do boast that. And it is really coming through here. You can really smell that rye grain, that nice, just a nice spicy, edgy nose to it here. There is a little bit of sweetness, some toffee in the background. Well, certainly some vanilla. And then, like I said, some spices here. I'm going to go ahead and peg it at cinnamon and allspice. Very nice. Okay, sweetness more prevalent here on the palate. Nice, just a nice honeyed sweetness here. That corn grain is still is starting to come through quite a lot. And then we do have some of those nice spices there that again we can attribute to the rye content. We have a nice, long, drawn-out finish here of vanilla and spice. And really for a bourbon that's as high of an alcohol content as this, a lot of them will have a that kind of a little bit of an unpleasant heat to it, just because of that higher proof. I'm not really getting that with this. I'm getting some nice spices in there, but it's not unpleasant at all. And then after those spices kind of fade, you are left with a little bit of a caramel sweetness on the palate there. So to rate this one here on the nose, some nice, full, rich, grainy aromas. We had that rye come through very, very nicely. Some nice spices, a little bit of sweet toffee in the background there. Touched on a lot of the bases of good bourbon will. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 21.5 for the nose. Taste on this one here, again, some nice spicier notes from the rye. The sweetness of that corn grain really made its presence known as well. Not a ton of complexity of flavor in this one here. We did kind of touch on the macros of the taste buds, so to speak, but just not a ton of depth. But I mean, it's this is their normal, this is their flagship. I mean, that's what you expect. But again, not impacting the score here. For the palate here, I'm going to give this one 19 points. Finish on this one was very, very long. A nice, good, spicy finish. Not a ton of unpleasant, heat from the higher proof. And then I had a nice caramel sweetness after it lingered for a while. I'm going to give the finish on this one 22 points. And then for the balance, I thought this one had a really nice mouthfeel, good balance of flavors, some nice spicy, nice sweet. I'm going to go ahead and give the balance on this one 22 points as well. And that's going to leave me with an overall score of 84.5 points for this Wild Turkey 101 Kentucky Bourbon. Well, thanks everybody for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up or leave a comment in the comment section down below. And then, of course, if you're not already a member of my channel, go ahead and hit that button and subscribe. And then after you do, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button to make sure you get notifications of new videos that come out. I do have one come out every weekend, and I would hate for you to miss one. So go ahead and do that for me. And I will see you again next week, right here on The Tasting Room.